Guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree of Space Command, which we are very actively working on now. First of all, I wanted to say subscribe, ding the bell, comment, spread the word, share this with your friends. We're close to 100,000 views, and we also want to get on the algorithms to spread the word of science fiction. And but I just finished my run. I ran for 45 minutes. It's nice and overcast and cool in LA rather than 90 degrees as it was yesterday. So that was fun and fine, and all you guys know I work out and run and stuff. So, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. There's actually a very interesting phenomenon going on television, and I wanted to alert you to it because you might not know about it otherwise. Now, I've said before that my favorite network is YouTube, not just because Mr. Sci-Fi is on it, but because amazingly it has become a repository of many great and extremely rare movies and TV shows from the entire history of cinema and television. So you can literally see rarities, live TV shows, all sorts of stuff. You know, live TV shows from the 50s, Studio One, Playhouse 90, many things that were not available before or were very, very difficult. You'd have to go to museum archives and so forth. But they also have all sorts of interesting current stuff as well. And so let me go into a little bit about this because it's really fascinating, and also they now have 4K as well on YouTube, so it's of a quality equal to what you would get on any of the streaming services or major networks or any of that stuff. So okay, here we go. So the top award in science fiction is the Hugo, and in the past mainly it was won by Americans, mainly it was won by men. This is from the 50s on and so forth, and it's a rocket ship and very cool looking, and I was nominated for it for the Star Trek episode I did with George Takei, and that you can even watch on Mr. Sci-Fi if you just type in Sulu or Takei and you'll find it. But there was one novel, I was at the Worldcon a few years ago, and there was one novel that won that was a surprise because it was written by a Chinese writer in China, and his name is Cixin Liu. And there's different pronunciations of that, so you can massacre it any number of ways. And the fun thing also was that he won for a book called Three Body Problem, and also not only did he get a Hugo Award, but the translator did too, which was very cool and appropriate and really, really fun. So Cixin Liu is a hugely successful and famous science fiction writer in China, and his works have spread around the world and have enjoyed popularity. And I read the trilogy. This was a trilogy about essentially first contact with an alien species. Very interesting. It starts in the Cultural Revolution and goes from there. And I tried to read it on audio because I'm a big fan of audiobooks and also rather busy. And I had great difficulty following it because of the Chinese names. So I would get very confused as to who was who and following which was which and following the emotional line. But I still found it a very, very interesting trilogy full of very interesting concepts. And I think this... And so then I heard that Netflix had bought it and was going to be doing a science fiction series based on it. And then I heard that not only was Netflix doing a series based on it, but China was too. And they were totally different, two different adaptations of the same trilogy of novels being done at essentially the same time. And the one on Netflix is going to be premiering in the near future. And in fact, one of the fellows that I see at the gym regularly is in it. Very nice guy. And but I came across the Chinese version of the books, and I've been watching it. It's at least 30 episodes, and I'm up to about episode 15. And the actors are wonderful. The story is wonderful, and the character arcs are really good. You follow these characters, you come to care about them. It's really wonderfully done. It's in Chinese, but you can, or I should probably say Mandarin, but you can, it has subtitles, and it's in surround sound, and it's in 4K, and it's just really fun. And what would kind of lose me in the books, I'm able to follow just fine. And it's sort of a procedural mystery dealing with a cop who's trying to find out why physicists are killing themselves and proclaiming that the physics no longer exists. It's a very, very, very interesting show. The characters are wonderful. The actors are wonderful. You don't get confused as a who's who. They're very careful in casting different looking people, different haircuts, different affect. And it really, really works. And it's very interesting to compare it with another show that's on television, a show on Apple that's called Invasion. Now, for me, Invasion is just mainly a collection of cliches from movies, alien invasion movies you've seen before: Independence Day, War of the Worlds. I'm not finding anything in it that's particularly fresh. I mean, it's nice that it has a diverse cast, but I'm not finding any concepts that are really, really, really interesting. And a lot of the things, you do this and that causes this. You follow the alien signal and you hack it and you're able to send a signal up to the mothership that kills all the aliens. And we saw this in Independence Day and so forth. So, but contrast that with Three Body Problem, and what you find is Three Body is actually examining some very, very interesting issues, including what would an alien species think of us? Would they see us as a threat? Would they see us as animals, essentially, not a species on a par with them? Would they, what if the physics that we have interpreted are totally incorrect, or at least can be seen as a local phenomenon? It's just really interesting stuff, and they're very good at explaining it, because they have the cop who's not a scientist. He's always going, explain this to me in layman's terms, and then they do. And often they draw up diagrams, and interestingly enough, the diagrams are the same symbols, arrows and so forth, that we would see here. So it's perfectly comprehensible, and so what I'm basically saying is, go to Three Body Problem, make sure it's the one in Chinese. You can watch it on YouTube. I don't know how many episodes it is. I know it's at least 30, and so far so good. It may go totally to hell. I may come back and say I was wrong, but so far I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm so glad we live in a time when you can watch foreign television as well as local television. But it really shows you a China very different from what the news reports give you. And it also shows you China's evolution from the Cultural Revolution, which was a very, very trying time in their history, not that long ago, and the urbanization and technical accomplishments of modern China. It's really a wonderful show. So that's about it for now. So we will talk again real soon, and many, many more fun things to come. Take care. Bye, guys.